In the mid-1800s, the United States shared one contiguous map, but the people living inside those borders were effectively operating as two different countries. Comparing the regional economies, the northern states were rapidly urbanizing, laying railroad tracks, building massive factory hubs, and moving away from enslaved labor. The southern states relied entirely on agriculture and forced enslaved labor. As the U.S. acquired Western territory, these incompatible systems clashed over which economic model would dictate the new estates. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln won the presidency. He ran on a specific platform. He would not forcefully abolish slavery where it already existed, but he would stop it from expanding any further west. For Southern leaders, freezing the expansion of slavery meant eventual economic suffocation. Almost immediately after the election, 11 Southern states broke away from the Union and formed their own separate government, the Confederate States of America. The shared democratic experiment had collapsed. The political system could no longer hold together a nation half free and half enslaved. The breaking point became violent in April 1861. Confederate forces opened fire on Fort Sumter, a federal military outpost in South Carolina. President Lincoln immediately called for tens of thousands of federal volunteers to march south and suppress the armed rebellion. At this stage, the Union Army mobilized with a single, limited objective: force the seceded states to submit to federal law and repair the physical map. This chart breaks down the extreme resource imbalance at the start of the conflict. The North held a massive advantage in sheer population, manufacturing capacity, weapons production, and miles of railroad track. But the Confederacy countered those members with highly skilled military officers and a distinct tactical advantage. They were fighting to defend their own terrain. To win, the North had to physically invade, occupy, and subdue an area of land roughly the size of Western Europe. Industrial might slammed directly into entrenched resistance. Instead of a quick, decisive police action, the conflict dragged into a brutal, protracted stalemate. As the casualty lists grew longer each month, simply forcing states to rejoin the government failed to justify the staggering number of lives being lost. The true scale of the violence became impossible to ignore in the fall of 1862, at the Battle of Antietam. Over 20,000 soldiers were killed or wounded in a single day. It remains the deadliest 24 hours in the history of the American military. Lincoln realized the war required a purpose equal to its cost. Using the political momentum of the Union Army holding their ground at Antietam, he issued a radical new directive. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This executive order officially declared that all enslaved people living